Okay, good evening, everyone. This is the lottery for Hanover Hyannis. I'm David Cashman, SEB Housing, and we're going to get started in just a minute here, just getting everything set up. So give me a second. We will get going. Can everyone see my screen that I'm sharing? It says Hanover Affordable Housing Lottery, Hyannis, December 13th. Everyone see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. So we'll go through that. It has some helpful background information about kind of how many people applied, how we're going to do the lottery, what to expect for next steps. We'll go through that. And then once we've done that, we'll do the actual drawing. So let's do this. It's 6:02. I'm going to get started going through that. Once I've kind of gone through everything, I'll stop. I'll take a break to see if anyone has any questions, and then we'll do the actual lottery drawings. Those will be quick, and then I can stop again and we'll do any more questions. I don't think I can necessarily see, there are 77 people here. That's great. There's obviously been a ton of interest in this opportunity. It's an awesome opportunity. I think I'm seeing some subset of those. So if you have a question, please just, if you could just unmute yourself and ask, that would be helpful. Otherwise, I might miss it. I'm not exactly sure how to get all 77 people on the screen so I can see them. So again, David Cashman, SEB Housing. This is the lottery for the affordable units at Hanover Hyannis. We had a total of 180 completed applications for the affordable apartments. There was an extended deadline that we did on behalf of the state agency that oversees this. I know that that led to a little bit of confusion, and I'm sorry about that, but ultimately we had a deadline. They asked us to push it back a week. We did. So there was some conflicting information out there, which was a necessary result of that, but it gave people more time to apply, and it resulted in a very robust lottery pool of 180 households. And you may recall, we filled out your application. There were questions about if you had local preference, so if you lived, worked, had kids attending the local schools. In a number of the waiting lists, there is a priority for households who have that local preference. So of the 180 applications we got, there were 111 households who indicated that they had local preference. The other households did not indicate local preference. An oddity of this program is that all 180 households will have placements on both the local preference and the general open waiting list to the extent that we have those. And for some bedroom types we do, and for some we don't. I know that's confusing and a little counterintuitive, but I think your takeaway is you'll be on every waiting list that we said you'd be on when we sent you your lottery application notice that said, dear so-and-so, you know, you applied for a 1-bedroom and you're eligible for a 1-bedroom at 65% and 80%, as an example, or whatever your notice said. So you'll be on any bedroom size at the AMI tier that we said you'd be eligible for. There are going to be 10 different waiting lists, okay? Ultimately, what the waiting lists do, and the whole purpose of the lottery, is the waiting lists create an order of priority. They essentially establish who's going to get invited first for each unit type, and get to choose from among the available units. So being higher on a waiting list is advantageous. Nobody wins anything at the lottery. Nobody loses anything at the lottery. Everyone will be on a waiting list that they applied and will be eligible and were eligible for. So we're just establishing orders of priority for each unit type. And remember, we've got 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom units. And for each, we have them at the 65% area median income and the 80% area median income. And I know a lot of households were eligible for multiple different waiting lists. So quickly, because this will, and by the way, this sheet that I'm sharing with you here, I am going to send to you. So I'm hoping to get everything out tonight. Worst case, I'll get it to you by tomorrow morning. Don't feel like you need to take a screenshot or whatever. I'm going to send you this so you'll have everything. You can review it, read it at your leisure. Okay, from the top, we've got our local preference waiting list here. We've got 10 1-bedroom, 65% units, 107 applicants, 66 households said they qualified for local preference. So again, that's what I just mentioned a few minutes ago. Even households who aren't local preference are on those lists. Okay, it just means that if you do have local preference, you get priority on that list as compared to a household who doesn't have local preference. 3 one-bedroom 80% units, 94 applicants, 59 local preference. 8 two-bedroom units at 65%, 60 applicants, 37 local preference. 1 two-bedroom at 80%, 55 applicants, 37 local preference. 1 three-bedroom 65% unit, 36 applicants, 23 local preference. 2 three-bedroom apartments at 80%, 34 applicants, 28 local preference. Okay, that's our local preference pool. Scrolling down, we got our general waiting list. We have 7 one-bedroom 65% units, 107 applicants. Same exact number as on the one-bedroom 65% local, because everyone's on both lists. They're just going to have different spots. Okay, got 107 here, 107 there, but they won't be in the same order on each. We've got 2 one-bedrooms at 80%, 94 households. We've got 1 one-bedroom ADA, disabled accessible apartment at 65% AMI, 11 applicants for those. And lastly, 1 two-bedroom disabled accessible apartment, 65% AMI. Nobody indicated that they had need of that unit. So ultimately, that unit can be made available to households on the 2-bedroom 65% list up here, if those 8 units aren't taken by the 60 households. Okay, so in a few minutes here, we're going to do the lottery drawing. We're going to do it using random.org. It's an online website. It uses true randomization. I'm going to take everyone's lottery number, and I'm going to first do the local households. I'll put it in, press a button, and it'll spit out a totally random order. And then I'll do the general drawing, where I'll take all 180 households, put them in that same website, and it'll give me a totally random order. This is a much faster, much less error-prone way of doing it than me pulling numbers out of a box, which would probably take 45 minutes to an hour and bore you all to death, and just is more error prone when there's this many households. So we'll do it that way. It'll be quicker. I'll come back to that in a second. So we'll do that in a minute here. Next steps are tonight, like I said, or by tomorrow, I will send you, this document that we're looking at here. I will send you the waiting lists, and they're going to look like this. This is just one example. There's going to be multiple of these, and I'll have them in PDF format. So in this example, I'm showing you the 1-bedroom 65% local list and the 1-bedroom 65% general list. There were 107 households on each list. So once we've done the lottery and I've done the sorting tonight, I'm going to put everyone's application number into all these blank slots. So it'll be A dot blank, blank, blank. So hopefully you all have those numbers. If anyone doesn't have it, I can get it for you. But it'll be anonymous. I'm not putting your name in here. I'm just putting your application number. And this is ultimately what tells you kind of where you are in the ranking. Okay. So the lottery drawing that we do in random.org, where you get picked in that is important, but it is by no means the only factor that influences where you are on the waiting list, which is ultimately where you'll get, kind of when and if you'll get invited forward by the leasing office. It's just a factor, but other factors include your household type, and if you had local preference or not. So being picked, having the number 1 drawing in random.org, if you're the number 1 household, that is a good thing. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the number 1 household on a wait list. Okay. If you're a type 1 household who doesn't have local preference, you are not going to be the first household on a 2-bedroom waiting list at 65% AMI that has local preference. In fact, you're going to be pretty far down that list behind larger household types who do have local preference. Okay, so I will send you these, and I believe they will be searchable in the PDF I send you. So just know your application number. You can hit Control F on your computer, and you can find your number and see where you are on the waiting list. And there'll be a few of those. Again, this is just for the 1-bedroom 65%, but we have 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms at other AMI tiers as well. So there'll be a few of these. All right. Okay, so next steps in terms of kind of lottery and leasing. You know, this is one big important step in this whole process, but it is by no means sort of the end of the road. If on that list that I just showed you, if you're in green, that means that you are in one of the top positions, and it means that you will definitely get invited forward to apply for a lease. Okay, let me show you what I mean by that. We have 10 units on this list right here. We've got 10 local 1-bedroom 65% units. Well, if you're in the top 10 positions, you're definitely getting invited forward, okay, to apply for a lease. If you're not in one of the top 10 positions, you may get invited forward, and in fact, that's, you know, quite possibly a real possibility. It's usually not, you know, 10 for 10 in terms of households invited, leases signed. It almost never works that way, but it just means if you're not in green, it's not guaranteed. Okay, if you are in green, what is guaranteed is an invite to apply for a lease, but not more than that. Nobody, and that's because nobody was lease screened for entry into the lottery. So we never looked at your, you know, to see if you had a criminal history. We weren't pulling your credit. We weren't doing landlord references. We weren't doing any of those things that a leasing office might do. All we were doing is a determination about whether or not you appeared eligible for the program, which primarily is focused on your income and assets to make sure that you were under the applicable limits. But you can be program eligible without being lease eligible. Okay, so in being invited to move forward in this process is not a guarantee of a unit or that you are lease eligible. It is just once, you know, being in the lottery is one step along the way. Okay, now one thing that's a little bit different about this lottery is we had to extend the deadline at the state agency's request, and we got absolutely crushed with applications in the final week that they came in. Okay, I think we had 10 households for the lottery at the original deadline, and we got 170 more in the next, you know, 7 or 10 days following that. There's no way our team could process all of those applications and all of the supporting documents that were supposed to be submitted with those applications. So there are a handful of households, I think about 11, that got their applications in earlier, okay, and you know, a couple weeks ago or a month ago, that were given full approval. So we looked through all their income, their assets, their taxes. We said, you are eligible for this program. If you are such a household and you are also invited forward and you are also lease approved, then you'd be able to move forward in signing a lease. If you are one of the other 169 households who got a conditional eligibility notice, that means that we said, based on what you put in your lottery application, you appear eligible for this program, but we have not had the time to go through all of your income and asset and taxes to actually see if that's backed up, okay? To see if you're actually eligible. So if you are one of those households that has a conditional, and it should be pretty clear in the notice you got, then if you are invited to move forward to apply for a lease, and if you end up reserving a unit, you would need to come back to SEB to complete that process with us. And we'll tell you exactly what may be missing so that you can get to work on it right away. Okay, so look at your lottery notice and you can figure out, you know, am I one of the conditional households who, if I get to reserve a unit later, am I going to have to go back to SEB eventually and complete the program certification with them? Okay, you'll set move-in dates with the leasing office. I did just learn today they have had some construction delays. I'm sorry, they're looking at March for first move-ins now. So that is one of the things with new construction is you get a date and then it changes, and there's a ton of moving parts and things that can go wrong that can delay things. So that is the current
Excuse
estimate
me?
that I have. I will be sharing with you the email and the phone number for the leasing office, but I do not think that they are going to be in a position to start working with households for a few weeks. So please be patient. If you're one of those top households, do not expect to call them and that they're going to, start working with you right away. They do need some time. So please be patient, but you will be contacted if and when it is your turn to move forward. And you certainly can reach out to them, but again, just keep that sort of time frame in mind. They're still kind of getting set up. They've had some delays, so we do ask for your patience there. All right, so I'm gonna just make sure I do anything here. Okay, are there any questions before I do the actual drawing? And again, I'm not seeing everyone's thumbnail, so if you have a question, please unmute yourself and ask, because I may not otherwise see you.
Excuse me. So what if you don't have
Any
put your
questions?
application? Yeah, what if you don't have an application in as yet?
If you didn't submit an application, then I'm afraid you cannot be part of this lottery.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to be,
Well, are you still accepting application though?
no, ma'am, we're not. The deadline has passed.
How do we know which lottery
I mean,
application is our number?
yeah, I heard about this thing a little bit late, so I would like to apply.
So what you can do is, after the lottery, you can get in touch with Hanover, the leasing office, and ask to get on their waiting list behind the lottery households. But at this point, we cannot enter you into the lottery. The deadline has since passed. We already extended it, and we're running the lottery momentarily now. So there's no way for me to add you now, but you can get in touch with the leasing office in the coming weeks. Say, I missed the lottery. I'm still interested. Can I get on your waiting list behind lottery households? Okay.
Okay.
Other questions? I see a few in the chat that I missed, so give me a second. There's a
How do
question.
we,
Yep, go
how
ahead.
do we get a lottery number?
Were you sent, did you apply? If you applied, you should have gotten a notice from us with a lottery number.
I did not get a notice, and I dropped off my application actually in Needham, but I didn't get anything back, and this was before the deadline.
Same here. I
Hold on.
submitted it as
Oh.
well. I don't have anything.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me see if I can.
I don't see my number. 825.
All right, just a minute, just a minute.
I also don't have a number too.
I got the notice, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have a number in it.
Okay, let me just, give me 1 second here. I got to get my database of all households up. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second here. Okay, I don't know how to do this orderly, but just start calling out. Please give me your first name and your last name. I'll look and see if we have an application number for you.
Jesse Smith.
Smith. Desi, you said the first name was?
Jesse.
Jesse.
J-E-S-S.
Okay. Jesse Smith, A.031. Who's next?
Lisa
Ashley?
McBride.
Dratch?
Lisa McBride. 1 second. Lisa McBride.
No, A-031. A-031.
Evidence collection at the crime scene.
No.
Lisa McBride, A.065. Who's next?
Ashley
Kaya
Dratch?
Sorry, there were two at once.
Ashley?
Ashley,
Dratch, DRATCH.
Bashir set was found.
Oh, I'm
A-
so excited. I'm just excited.
Ashley, Dratch, DRATCH.
A.127. Next,
Kaya
Or-
D. Simone.
Sangeeta Kumar. Kumar, Kumar. Last name.
AUMAR.
Yeah,
Sangeeta
First name.
Kumar, A.072.
thank
Who's
you.
next?
Robin Cutler,
CUTLER.
CUTLER, yes.
A.015.
015, thank you.
Yep, who's next?
Renato Montes,
Got you.
A
Renato, you're
Zero.
A.025.
25. Thank you.
A.025.
confirm.
Who's next? Everyone got it? Good, okay. All right.
Thank you.
Close out of that. Save.
So I have a question. All
Yep.
right. So after this lottery, if we didn't get picked tonight, the rates, can we talk about the rates for the facility? Like if you're not qualified for the 60% or if there's no
Can I
available
ask you,
unit?
you know what? Can I ask you to hold that one and we'll do a question like that after the lottery, if you don't mind? Because I
right.
do think there's a bunch of people here. They probably just want to see me do the drawing and I'd be happy to talk to you about that after. But so let's do the drawings, everyone. Okay, I'm gonna
I'm
stop
sorry,
taking
can
any
you-
I'm
questions.
still waiting for a number.
Okay, what was your name?
D. Simone, Kaya D. Simone.
Okay, give me a second, Kaya. Got to bring it back up. I thought we had all of them. Kaya, how do you spell? Is it KIAH?
KYAH.
You're A.162.
Okay, thank you.
Are there
Can you
any
just
other
give me
households?
mine one more time? Ashley Dratch, sorry.
Ashley, or A.127.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other households who don't have their lottery number?
Alex St. George.
Alex St. George, A.085. 085. Any other households? Anyone? Okay, well, if there's anyone later, I can certainly come back to it. Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do, folks. I'm going to do the drawing now. We've got, I think, close to 100 people here. I think people probably want to see me do it, and then I'm happy to stick around and answer other questions after. If I've missed anything in the chat, we'll loop back around on that. So let me share my screen again. And all right. So here is our local lottery numbers. You can see here, A.003 is the first one. And we had a total of 111. Got to subtract one here. So we had 111 of those households. So I am going to copy them.
I don't see A0025.
Please, you know what? Please hold the questions for right now. I will answer later, but let me do the drawing and then I can answer additional questions. Please, thank you.
My number don't in your drawing.
And I'm gonna hit
My number not in your Excel.
Sir,
A25. I don't
right,
see
but
my
because you
number.
didn't have local preference.
Local preference. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is just local preference. So you'd be in the next
Okay.
one.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is random.org. Here are all the local numbers. Okay. And I'm going to hit randomize. And here they come out in a totally different order. Okay. in my experience, and given this many households, I've done a few of these, people often want to know where they're drawn, no matter how many times I say, this doesn't really give you a great idea of where you're going to be on the waiting list. It's much better to just wait to see the waiting list. I get it. People are here. They want to know. I totally respect that. If I try and do it by myself and just have people call out like, hey, I'm Dave Cashman. I'm A.555. Where was I drawn? It's going to be really slow and painful for all of us. So what I'm going to ask you to do is look at my screen. I will scroll through really slowly as I can. Find your number, okay? I will send you this tonight. So you will get this, okay? And more importantly, you will get the waiting lists that show you where you're actually landing on the waiting list, which tells you if and when you're likely to be invited, okay? This doesn't tell you that, but I will send you this as well. But I want to try it this way because if I start having every household say, hey, my name is this and my number is that, where was I drawn? It is really hard for me to keep up and really painful for all of you as you're waiting and people are talking and people are putting things in the thread and the thing is moving and I got to scroll back up to the top to find it. So I'm going to try this. I will go very slowly. So take a look. Now's your opportunity. So this is A.039. These are the first 51 households. I'm going to leave it here for a second. This was the local drawing.
Can't make it bigger. Like I can't read the numbers.
I see it and I'm number 24, so I'm probably, I don't know.
What if I try this?
I just can't widen I can't pinch it wider.
You have to zoom in. You have to take the screen and just zoom in on it.
Okay, we're going to do it this way. So I just copied that. So here are all those numbers. Okay, there are 111. So is this easier to see now? I can zoom in.
It is.
Okay. So I'm just going to slowly go through here.
Yeah, see that? Now I can see that.
And that his mother was a prostitute. He used to say that. His family never gave him the love he wanted.
If you can just mute yourself if you're not asking a question, please. Okay. So that was the local drawing. Again, that is not where you are on the wait list. I will send this to you tonight and I will also send you the or try tonight or by tomorrow morning. I'll send you this. I'll also send you the actual waiting list, which tells you exactly where you are. Okay, so that was the local. Now we're going to do the general drawing. Let me just go back here. One more time. Just a sec here. We'll do that in a second. Okay, so we're gonna do the general drawing now.
Can I ask a quick question? You said that is not where you are
Correct.
on the waiting list? Confused.
That's a good question.
Later?
Hold that for a second.
Okay.
Let me do the general drawing and then I'll show you a graphic which hopefully will help you understand that better because that's an easy point to get tripped up on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is our general numbers, okay? Like I said, there were 180 households in the lottery. Here are the 180 households. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy them.
Very fucked up.
Put them into random.org. They're all in there. Looks good. And randomize. Here are 180 numbers spit out in a totally different order. Let me copy and paste them. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing I just did. So I'm going to very slowly scroll through here. Take a look. This is where you were drawn in the general drawing. Okay, so here we go. A.019 is the first household. I'm actually just going to leave it there for a sec and then I'll kind of scroll down in batches. That might be a little less annoying to look at. So here's 10 through 26. Okay, let's scroll down 27 through the next 27 through 44.
Are you able to show 1 through 10 when you're done?
Yeah,
Does
I'll
it
go
kick
back up
me
to
out?
I'll go back up. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So, okay, so that's 27 through 44. Here's 45 through 62. Okay, 63 through 80. Okay, 81 through 98. Okay, 99 through 116. One 17 through 134. And 135 through 152. And 153 through 170. And then 171 through 180. Okay, so I want to start by answering Melanie's question. It's a good question. So this is from the information packet, Melanie. 1C, the waiting list. So here is an example of what I mean. Let's take a look at the 8 2-bedroom 65% units, this waiting list here. This is a local preference waiting list. After this call is done, I'm going to start taking all those results and sorting them and creating the waiting lists. These are the waiting lists. When I do that, this is how the waiting lists get constructed top to bottom. So the top tier is any type 2 or type 3 local preference household, followed by a type 2 or type 3 non-local preference household, followed by a type 1 local preference household, followed by a type 1 non-local preference household. So I have no idea who this person is or what type they are or anything, but just for purposes of illustration, let's assume A.039 is a type 1 local preference household. They were the very first household drawn in the local preference lottery, right? A.039. But they're type 1. They're going to be here. Okay, they're not going to be the first household on the waiting list. They're going to be behind all of these people, even though they were drawn later, because that's how the program says we have to construct the waiting list and we have to give priority. Now, if that same household A.039 applied for a 1-bedroom 65% unit, they would be the first household on that waiting list because they're local preference. And we don't make any distinctions for 1-bedroom units on household type. Everyone, whether you're 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, has equal size priority for it. So that's what I mean. When we do these lotteries, I do think people totally understandably want to know exactly where they're picked, and it matters, but it's by no means the defining sort of thing or the defining criteria for purposes of where you end up on the waiting list. Does that explain it?
Yeah, totally. Thank you very much. I
You
appreciate
got
that.
it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
All right. What other questions do we have, if any?
So I didn't see, I applied for my mom, but I didn't see her number on the drawing.
Okay, what number was she?
A105.
'47th in the general drawing.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
So I was asking before, because when I read the article, you guys had like, hello?
Yeah, Gail, go ahead.
Yes, so as I was stating before, when I read the article, you guys had 28 available units and 8 other units for 85%. If after all that is gone and we're interested, does the rate remain? What's the rate like? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so you can get on the waiting list behind lottery households. The rents right now are right here. So it's by bedroom size and AMI tier. So like a 1-bedroom 65% unit is gonna rent for $1,246.
Oh, okay.
And the 2-bedroom 65% is 1,365. And this is on our, website too. So, you can find it there. Now, these rates, yep, go ahead.
I'm just trying to see, I can't even read. So it's A072. Can you just tell me where I am so I can get off this call? Thank you.
Yep. Did you have local preference?
I did.
All right, 69th in the local drawing.
That's what I thought. And I was like, what a
And
great number.
wow,
Thank you.
68th in the general drawing. Huh.
Thank you. Have
There
a
you
great
go.
evening, everyone.
Yeah, you too.
I have a question.
Yep.
What about A119?
Did you have local
119?
preference?
I think so.
$102. You were drawn 102nd in the local drawing. And
Okay.
54th in the general drawing.
Okay.
Could
You guys will
also
send me
check
an
my
email?
number, please?
Oh, sorry, there were a few people at once there.
I was asking if you're gonna send me an email.
All right, bye.
Yep, everyone who is in the lottery is going to get an email, assuming you provided an email. If you didn't, we'll send you USPS. But we will give you these lists that show where you were drawn in the lottery, as well as the actual waiting lists and information about next steps and how to get in touch with the leasing office and sort of kind of all that. Yep.
Excuse me, can you check the A146, please? The local preference.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, 105th. And 93rd in the general.
Could you
Other
check
questions?
032 for me, please?
What is it?
032.
70th in the local
Can you check A106, please?
and 46th in the general.
Okay, thank you.
106.
A106.
Okay. 134th in the general. 24th in the local.
Can you
Okay.
check 103?
Okay, A103.
Yes, please.
15th in the general drawing.
A99, please.
A99.
Yeah.
15 did not have a local.
Sorry, there were a few people talking there. I think I got A.099. They were drawn 49th in the general drawing.
And for local.
107th in the local.
Okay.
Can you check 043?
I got 0. Hold on, 043.
Huh?
146 in the general.
I just didn't get the local.
156.
156.
Yes.
9th in the general. Not in the local. Who else?
Can you do 165?
165. Which
Yeah.
these two. What is that? 31st in the general.
I'm coming with them.
and 17th in the local.
039, please.
Can't see my.
First in the local. 174th in the general.
019, please.
019. First in the general. 76th in the local.
03038.
31st in the local. 40th in the general.
077, please.
92nd in the general. 64th in the local.
Thank you.
050, please.
050. 58th in the local. 25th in the general.
103, please.
You already did.
What's the number? 130?
No, sorry. 103. I was just wondering why it wasn't in the local because I thought I put in a local.
That's not what I show, but we can. I'll have to follow up with you separately. A.103. I will have a look. If it was supposed to be, we can fix it. But I'll follow up with you.
What does general usually mean?
Well, it just has to do with how the waiting lists get created. So let me show this screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all households, whether local or non-local, get placed on the waiting list. Okay? So which bedroom sizes did you apply for?
Three bedrooms.
3 bedrooms. Okay. So we've got a 3-bedroom 65% and 3-bedroom 80%. So do you know what household type you were?
Yeah, I can look that up right now. Give me 1 second.
How many people are in your household?
5.
5. So you're a type 3 household.
Yeah.
So if you're a non-local household, and we're gonna have to look into this, you're gonna be in this tier right here, the second tier.
Okay.
Same here. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Second tier for this is 65% and 80. I don't know if you qualified for both, and if you did have local, you'll be in the first tier.
It was
Okay.
supposed to be local, but
We'll have to look at the application that was submitted. And if we made a mistake, we'll correct it. If you said you didn't qualify, then unfortunately I can't, there's nothing I can do about it now.
yeah.
But I will look at what you submitted, and again, if the error's on us, we'll fix it.
So I'm seeing waiting list for, so that means it's only 1 bedroom, 1 3-bedroom available for the 65. That's what it means.
Right.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about 138 for the local, please?
So I thought they said it was like 28, 36 apartments in total. Am I getting that correct?
Sorry, hold on 1 second. I'm trying to do A138. They're 98th in the general
Thank you.
and 40th in the local. I can't figure out how someone drew on my screen. Like black
Thank you.
magic. I don't know. Never seen it. I'm gonna try saving it and opening it back up. I've never seen anything like this. Weird.
So what happened?
Stop sharing for a second. Okay, what other questions do we have?
So I got number 43 on the local housing for the number Now, what does that mean going forward? Does that go into a waiting list for the 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom that I applied for? I'm just kind of confused on that.
Yeah, so if you applied for the 1 and 2 bedrooms,
Yep.
then you will be on those waiting lists. And when you get the waiting list from us tonight or tomorrow, you'll see exactly where you are.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
All right, awesome. Thank you so much
you
for
got
being
it.
patient with me too.
Sure thing.
All right,
Can you
bye-bye.
tell me where A064 is?
Yep. 95th on the local. 69th on the general. Again, and I know I've said this is not where you are on the waiting list. This is only where you were drawn in the lottery. So you are not going to know where you are on the waiting list until I send out the waiting list tonight. Just want to keep hammering home that message. Who else? What other questions do we have?
So the local list is for who lives in the area, right?
Lives, works, or had kids attending the schools. Yep.
So I'm a local, so I wasn't on the local list. Is it that you have to?
Did you say that you had local preference in your lottery application?
Not sure.
What's your lottery number?
A156.
Okay, same as the other gentleman. If you said you did and we missed it, we'll fix it. If you didn't say you did, then unfortunately, it's not something I can change now.
Oh, okay.
Some of us probably messed up because we didn't understand some of the
Yeah.
questions, but I have kids in the school here locally. I work locally for Ben & Custom Builders.
Yeah.
I have
Exactly. I work locally too, and I live here locally in the areas too. My job is locally.
I understand that, and you know, I'm sorry if that's the case. I mean, there's a question on the application, and when we send you the
You need
lottery
to read
number, it says,
instructions.
you know, it says you didn't apply for local preference, so there's kind of 2 bites at the apple. I don't know how you would, you know, be, you know, if it's a mistake on our end, we can sort of find a way to fix it, but barring that, I can't go back. We've already done the drawing, 100 people watched it. I can't go back in and change it, you know, for something that
So
someone didn't.
local means just the town of Barnstable, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And that includes both Hyannis and Yarmouth, correct?
Is Yarmouth, I don't know, is Yarmouth part of Barnstable? I don't think so.
No, it would be Hyannis only and Barnstable.
Yeah, just Barnstable. Yarmouth is not included in that.
Right.
It's just
Yarmouth
Hyannis
is,
and Barnstable.
It's Hyannis and Barnstable, which I lived in Hyannis.
All right, what other questions? Are there other questions?
When are the moving dates? Like, when can we start moving it?
That's something you're gonna have to work out with the leasing office. You know, unfortunately, they have had some construction delays, so I'm told now the first units are supposed to be ready in March. Unfortunately, with new construction, you know, those dates often change, so but they would be able to work that out with you. And that depends in part on when you get invited, you know.
Thank you.
Okay, so my question is, out of the 180 applicants, the numbers that we get drawn in the lottery aren't where we are on the list, but out of those 180 people, there'll be a portion of them that do not qualify or for whatever reason, or right?
Yep.
Okay, so you can knock off a certain amount of people for that, and then like what is the process? So you start going through everyone's applications and seeing if they qualify, if they pass the credit, if they pass all these other things, and then you finally get to the people that can lease.
So the next steps are the leasing office is going to start reaching out to the top households on the various lists and inviting them to apply for a lease. That probably still won't happen for several more weeks, so please be patient with them. They will then look at things like credit history, criminal background, if any, tenant history, and the typical things that management companies look at. If you are eligible for a lease and you have a high enough waiting list position, you can move, and you were one of like the 11 households who got a full lottery number that wasn't conditional, you can move forward in renting a unit. If you're the other 169 households who were conditionally eligible, you would need to first return to SEB to complete the review of your income, asset, and tax documentation. And if you're eligible there, then you can move forward in signing a lease. So I think you have the right idea that this is one step in the process. You still cannot lease a unit until you are determined lease eligible. And for 169 of you, also program eligible by SEB after review of all of your income, asset, and tax documents.
And you will let us know when this stuff needs to be reviewed. Like you'll send us emails. We're not going to miss dates on anything. Like you'll let us know
Yeah,
when we have to do that, where we have to get it done, where we have to go, etc.
you will be contacted. Yes, if you are
Okay.
invited and whatever is due, you know, they or we will let you know.
Thank you.
And most, you know, the way this works, you know, oftentimes leasing offices have to invite between 3 to 10 people to fill a unit, you know, for various reasons. So if you're not
Right.
one of the top households on a waiting list, that doesn't mean that you know, that you're not going to get a unit. You might. You just might have to wait a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question. Like the original date for applications to be in was the 27th, and then that got changed to December 4th. Why
Yep.
was that?
The
I will talk to you later.
Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities requested that we move it back a week. And so we did it to comply with their request. In retrospect, it created a ton more work for us. And it's not something we typically do, but they asked that we do it, and so we did it.
What
So-
exactly do these numbers mean?
The A dot blank blank blank.
Where you're at on the local preference in general?
Like this here, what does this mean?
Yeah.
That just shows where you were drawn in the lottery. But it doesn't tell you yet where you are on the waiting list, which is more important. Where you are on the waiting list is like, hey, am I the first household for a 1-bedroom 65% unit? Or am I the 10th or the 20th or the 50th? So this is one factor that goes into creating the waiting list. But
Okay.
not the only one.
Okay, thank you.
And I can, and we talked about this a little bit before. Let me just flesh it out a little bit more. So this is the 1-bedroom 65% list. The top tier are all local preference households. Okay. So I don't know if I'm sharing anymore. Sorry. But so you know, we're going to go through and say, all right, well, who applied for a 1-bedroom 65% unit and was eligible? Okay, of those households, where were they drawn in the lottery? And then we start to populate the waiting lists in that fashion.
And once you look through everybody's applications, though, you're going to probably find that people put they were local, but they're not, right?
That will probably happen. Yep. But
And
that
so
won't
what will
we won't
happen
be
to
looking
those
at that
people?
stuff for a while. We won't be looking at that stuff for a while.
But so what would happen to the list and everything when that happens?
If someone said they had local preference and they don't, then they get dropped down to the bottom of a waiting list.
Okay.
Other questions?
May I ask a question, please?
Of course.
Hi, if the one box that was checked was for 1-bedroom, would we also get into the option of the 2-bedroom, or would that have had to have been checked on that 65%?
So if you just checked that you were interested in a 1-bedroom, we would look at it and say, do you qualify for the 65% and the 80%, or one or the other? And if you qualify for both, you'll be on both lists. If you only qualify for one, you'll only be on one list.
So
If
you
you
would have had
only
it,
checked 1 bedroom and not 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom, you won't be on the 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom list.
okay. Thank you.
You got it.
Can you check 059 for me, please?
Yeah.
Sir, can I just say thank you very much for your patience and understanding through this whole process for us.
Oh, thank you. Happy to help. I know that, 100 people in a lottery is always a little bit chaotic, but I'm doing my best. So thank you. I appreciate it. A.059 was, oh, 1 second. I'm just finishing this. 39th on the local, A.059, and 36th on the general. Yep. Someone was asking questions.
I have a question.
Yep.
Yeah, my number is A029. I would like to know, because I have local preference.
Okay. 50th on the local,
Okay.
96th
So
on the
is-
general. Again, that's just where you were
Okay.
picked, not where you are on the wait list. It's just where you were picked in the lottery drawing. The wait list will come out soon, and that will tell you where you are. Other questions?
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sure.
So, good night. So sometime later on tonight, we will receive the waiting list that you will be formatting.
That's my plan. That's my plan. Worst case tomorrow. I was up till 11:30 last night prepping this. It's already 7, but I will try and get it to you tonight. I promise if not tonight, I'll get it to you first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
You got it. What other questions are there?
I'd like to know if you figured out how those marks got on your screen.
I don't have the faintest idea, but they appear to have gone away.
Oh.
I think it was just something moved. I don't know. I don't.
Because it was on your desk, the desktop when you put everything away too.
It
I'm
was.
just-
It
I'm
was.
just-
Yeah, I got a little
Mhm.
scared there for a minute, but I think it's okay.
Okay. Just a nerd.
Anyone else? All right. Well, I hope that was informative. Again, hang tight. The waiting lists are coming. That will tell you where you are. We're not going away. So if you have other questions, we'll be around. We can answer them. And the 2 households, I will get back to you on the local preference. And again, thank you everyone for your interest. It's a great opportunity, and best of luck with next steps.
Thank you
So
very much.
will you be
Have a
putting
good night.
information about with your telephone number and who we contact with questions?
Yep,
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
you got it.
Thank you. Have a good
you.
night. Don't work too hard.
Ah,
Hi, everyone.
all right. Good
Have a
night,
good one.
everyone. Thanks for attending.